this video, we're going to go from this to this in about 7.5 minutes. So watch closely. I always begin my landscaped murals by painting the sky blue. It's the thing that's furthest away from us. And once we have the blue sky, we add in a white horizon line, creating a blend between earth and the sky. Then we add in the clouds. Clouds are easy to do. A little spray here, a little spray there, some fluffy stuff here. And once we have the clouds in place, it's time to grab the airbrush. It's time to add the shadows. I use a Pache airbrush. I fill it in with some light gray paint and I spray the undersides of the clouds where the sun doesn't shine. Once we have the clouds looking more three-dimensional, I use the same color of light gray to create the old off in the distance mountain range. Misty, light gray, far away. Next, to bring in a little bit darker shade of gray to create a mountain range that would be closer in front of the misty light gray one I just painted. And I also use the same darker gray to go to the mountain range further back, giving it some shadowing, giving it some sense of sculpt, three-dimensional light and shadows. After laying out my mountain range in various shades of gray, I bring in the earth tones, switching the colors in my airbrush to lighter brown. I now go over the gray just lightly, leaving some of the gray to shine through or show through. And then I go into the brown, bring in a little bit of brown for adding definitions to the mountains. And I use this darker brown to create the illusion of mountains getting closer and closer as I work my way down the wall and into the actual yard that we're standing in. I decided that there was too much empty space, and so I decided to put a large mountain off in the distance, which will turn into a snow-capped, faraway mountain. So I start with a very light gray, and I give it a few little sculpted shadows to give it that sense of rockiness off in the distance. Then I go over it with a light coat of lavender, giving it that purple mountain majesty above the desert plain. Now it's time to add the snow. For this I airbrush in just snow where I think it would go to a certain level on the mountain. And then it's time to add the details. Rocks, weeds. For this I use a darker brown than the wall, about matching that ornament they already had in their yard. It's a good starting color. Some more little rocks off in the distance. Make some brown around it. And some more rocks. Now it's time to add the cactus. I always started out with gray, Many of the cacti off in the distance will remain just kind of dark gray silhouettes, not much color to them. These larger ones in the foreground, I will go over with a light green paint, and the gray will give me the vertical dark shadows that a cactus has, where the green paint will give it the highlighted side. So in 2 steps, first ball painting the gray, secondly painting the green on top of the gray, I will have my cactus patch in place. Before I complete the cactus patch, I want to add a red mountain off in the distance. A Sedona red, New Mexico red, a Utah red, whatever it is. A little brown on the right hand side gives me the sense of distance again. And then I complete my gray cactuses, the small one out in the distance, the larger ones up front. And then, once I've got the cactus in place, I use the bigger spray gun and add grass green, blending the wall color in with the actual yard color that we're working in. Now the object is to make the wall disappear. Now it's time to add that green color over my gray shadowy cacti. As I add the lighter shade of green, I begin to create the vertical lines that cactuses have. There. Once I've got them in a lighter shade of green, I go back into them with a little shade of black. Bring in some weeds, shadowing the right hand side of the cactus, and as I do that, the wall becomes more and more alive or realistic. The wall itself beginning to disappear, and the artwork becoming more and more prominent, or more and more interesting as I add more and more details. So, in a matter of about 7.5 minutes, we've gone from a brick wall to a desert landscape. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.